Manx National Heritage with Yvonne Cresswell, talking about Archibald Knox. Big celebrations going on this year. We've put this under our label of Year of Culture, I suppose, Island of Culture.
Yes.
Tell us about this book.
This is the Deer's Cry, or St Patrick's Breastplate, or St Patrick's Hymn. It's a work by Archibald Knox that is based on a Irish prayer or lorica written in the 8th century, but always ascribed to St Patrick. Now, it's, as I say, a prayer of protection, and Knox took one of the 19th century English translations of the prayer and created this wonderful work of art, with each line of the prayer being illustrated individually. He worked on it for a large part of his life, because he started it around the time of the First World War, and it wasn't quite finished by the time of his death in 1933. Each page is a sort of watercolour masterpiece, and each design is unique in terms of its colours. And if you look at the way that the letters sort of interlace into each other, and here we have God's wisdom to guide me, but then you might just be able to work out the letters, but then you suddenly realise it's talking about wisdom, and there is a bishop's mitre. And as I say, it's the subtlety of colours. I mean, here you go through all the shades of blues and purples and greens, and it's when you follow a line round, or in the lettering, the way that it will go from one colour through to a totally different colour. Now, nowadays with Photoshop and things, we can do that digitally, but to do that in watercolour, and you suddenly realise this isn't something he did for commission or to sell. This is something he's doing in his spare time as a purely personal sort of work of art.
I mean, you can't make a mistake, can you? So if one blob in the wrong place, and you've ruined it.
I mean, basically, a lot of these pages are double-sided, so you have design on one side, design on the other. So when you think about how long it's taken to create the design, to draw it out, to be happy with what you've got, to then do the lines, and then do the watercolour, you suddenly think there's weeks of work gone into each page, and at any moment you can make a mistake, because watercolour is an incredibly unforgiving medium. One blob in the wrong place, you can't go over it again.
This is such a unique book. I mean, I know you could be so careful how you touch it. Not always on display, but again, it's coming up for a viewing soon.
This will be on display in the Celtic Style exhibition at the House of Manannan from the 5th of April through to February 2015.
Such interest in the man. I mean, we filmed it the other week at the gravestone. Yes. There's anniversaries coming up this year as well, isn't it?
That's it. It's the 150th anniversary of his birth. And, it's just fascinating to sort of see not just Knox's work, but Knox's work in association with that of all of his contemporaries, because Knox was not the only person who was inspired by his Celtic heritage. There were Irish and Scottish artists as well in the sort of 1900s who were fascinated by things like their crosses, carved crosses, things like the Book of Kells. And the Book of Kells was a direct inspiration for Knox's work here, and Knox referred to the Book of Kells as being the work of angels.
Fascinating. I know the post office are bringing out some stamps as well,
yes,
aren't they, at the same time to commemorate the events, and he's just getting bigger and bigger, isn't he, Amy?
Yes, I mean, in an international sort of context, he's most well known for his metalwork for Liberty, but there is so much to Knox. So his watercolour paintings, his graphic designs. What's so fascinating is, from this childhood fascination with the Manx crosses, the Manx countryside, so much beautiful, exquisite work was produced. an amazing artist.